Human beings are literally wired for storytelling. Our brains remember stories better than almost anything else. There's a lot of evidence that stories are 13 times more memorable than data alone. And if you think about it, this makes sense because we've been talking and telling stories a lot longer than we've had written language, books, Netflix, any other form of knowledge transfer. So when I say our brains are wired for stories, I mean that remembering stories was for a while there a survival skill. Stories were how we communicated information to each other. It could be the story of there's a mountain lion in that valley, so don't go in or you'll get eaten. Or it could be the story of those berries, we're not too sure about them because Ugg ate them and he died, so avoid those berries. Our brains are wired to remember this information because it literally was the difference between life or death for us. Now, as a species, we've evolved beyond that point. We now have so many other ways of storing and transmitting information. But our brains still seek out the stories because they're easy to process and easy to remember. In his book Sapiens, Yuval Harari talks about the storytelling revolution that he estimates to be about 70,000 years ago. This is likely when communication between human beings went from very basic into the kind of concepts of laws, agreed upon myths, agreed upon rules for society. So at the very least, we've been telling stories for something like 70,000 years. We only really have physical evidence of this going about 40 to 45,000 years ago, which is when we start looking at cave paintings, where you can see kind of clear narratives. You can see people hunting animals. You can see little tales of survival. I mean, they're not exactly beginning, middle, and end or Hollywood blockbusters, but we begin to see evidence of human storytelling. That means that our bodies, our brains, have evolved to listen to and hear and repeat stories. We're wired for it. We can remember them better than almost anything else. And what are the lessons we can take from our ancestors? Well, when there's information that you want people to remember, put it in the form of a story.